Good day. Welcome to Nigeria at 60. This is a celebration which is being organized by the Nigerian community in Western Cape to celebrate our dear country, Nigeria. And my name is Tolulola George, and I'll be the moderator for this brief discussion. But I'd like to introduce my two panelists who are here with me right now. And they will introduce themselves and tell you a little bit more about themselves. On my left,
it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm Abdulaziz Giwa. I'm a doctoral student in bioinformatics at the University of the Western Cape, and it's my pleasure to come here to come and discuss about Nigeria at 60. Thank you.
On my right, I'd like my panelist to introduce himself.
My name is Pt.2 David, a doctoral researcher at the University of the Western Cape. And of course, we are here to celebrate Nigeria at 60. And of course, I want to congratulate Nigerians in Western Cape, and of course, Nigerians in the world and those that are at home. Congratulations.
It's a privilege to have you here on our show. I'd like to ask a few questions, first of all. The first question I'd like to ask, and I'd like you to give me a brief analysis of what your insight is as to the geopolitical importance of Nigeria on the African continent and also in the world at large. Mr. Giwa?
Okay, thank you. The first thing when you hear about, when you hear the name Nigeria, the importance attached to it by even anybody on the African continent shows you how important and how geopolitical important Nigeria is.
Yes.
Now, when you take our population, for example, that itself it's so important. It makes Nigeria a big player in the continent, in that if, for example, you have anything happening in Nigeria untoward, it's going to be a big problem for the whole continent itself. Also, when you look at the roles that Nigeria has played all over Africa, in peace missions in different places, in all over Africa, you can definitely see how important that Nigeria is geopolitically. Also, when you look at the amount of resources that Nigeria has, oil and all that, these are things that attach a high level of importance to the country. And so Nigeria, the correct functioning of Nigeria in the continent is necessary, because when you have any problem in the country, it spills over all over the continent. And so Nigeria is a strategic partner in the peaceful transition all over the continent.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Giwa. Mr. Davis, can you give us your insights, please?
Well, I would like to say, in addition to what Mr. Giwa has rightly said, that Nigeria is located in the western part of Africa. And of course, Nigeria has prided itself as the giant of Africa.
Yes.
And of course, there's no country in Africa that Nigeria has not positively impacted.
Yes.
When it comes to security, when it comes to economic, when it comes to developmental growth.
Yes.
So Nigeria is a major player in Africa. Of course, it prides itself also in a population of over 200 million population. And of course, it seems to be an emerging market for the whole world. In the year 2050, Nigeria is projected to have about 400 million population. And of course, that's a huge market for any product that will be coming out of Africa. So Nigeria is well positioned as the giant of Africa when it comes to economy, when it comes to the growth and the development of other African countries. And of course, it has also been involved in ensuring security of other states in Africa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's also very important to notice that we have contributed a lot to the arts and entertainment, and our songs are being sung all over the place, all over the world.
Yeah, that's also
Thank you very much, Mr. Giwa and Mr. Davis. Can you please give me an idea what you think the dreams of the average Nigerian, both in Nigeria and in diaspora, would be? What are our dreams? What do we really want from our country as a people and as a nation at large? Mr. Davis, can you please go first?
Okay. Well, what I want as a Nigerian, both of course relating to the diaspora and of course those that are at home, we want a Nigeria that is safe for all to live in. We want a Nigeria whereby there are opportunities that our teeming youth can of course benefit from. We want a Nigeria that the government is responsive to national issues. We want a Nigeria whereby you can relate with anybody across tribal lines, across ethnicity, across religion, irrespective of where you are coming from of course, you are able to relate. We want a Nigeria whereby our resources will be evenly distributed. And of course, it's not going to be distributed on ethnic bias or religion bias. So I desire a country that is free from corruption and of course that is safe to live in.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Davis. Mr. Giwa, can you give us your insights?
Yeah, that question is quite important because it is what we dream about that we can put into reality.
Yes.
And so we Nigerians need to have the proper dream. And so I would think that Nigerians, both home and abroad, want a functioning country. They want a country where, just like Mr. Davis had mentioned, where it is safe to live. They want a country where there will be economic opportunities for everyone, economic explosion. They want a country where there will be equal opportunity to be able to access the proceeds of the resources, myriads of resources that is present in the country. They want to use all kind of capital that is present in the country, both natural capital as well as the human capital. We both know that both of them have to function well. And Nigeria has the population and the skills to be able to effectively use these resources and to be able to transform the country and cement its position as the best all over the world. Thank you.
You know, for me, I want to just say a personal dream of mine. I want a Nigeria where we can all go back home to and be happy and live in. When we've all finished our journeys in, that's speaking for the Nigerian in diaspora, in Nigeria where when we have retired, we can return to our villages and drink palm wine and watch the masquerades dancing and participate and enjoy our country because we have worked and we brought the proceeds. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your very insightful answers to our questions. I want to ask you, Mr. Giwa, where do you see Nigeria and Nigerians in 10 to 50 years' time from now?
Okay. Just following up with the earlier question that you asked, of course, I see Nigeria, being prosperous. I see Nigeria being peaceful. I see Nigeria, working for every citizen of the country. However, we do also accept that we have challenges and that I believe that we'll be able to solve those challenges. So I see Nigeria, in 50 years, there's been a lot of forecast about our population increasing and all that. And so I see Nigeria, functioning well in 50 years. I see us, making inroads in different aspects, in infrastructure, in economy, in health, and all that, and that also tallies with what your dream is. It is when we have that we can, return back home to enjoy all these things that we're supposed to enjoy.
I love what you have said. I love your answer. But, I believe that many of us, when we look at our country today, most of us are not quite comfortable with what we see. We have concerns, and they're real concerns. Sure. And I'm not a scientist. You are the scientists here. They say in physics that an object will continue until a force hits it and changes its trajectory. Yes. Now, if we continue the way at which we are going, I'm not sure we are aiming for a peaceful Nigeria. What can we do? What contributions can we make as a people and as Nigerians in diaspora? We are highly educated people here on this panel. Practical suggestions can we make other than go back and contest or go back? What can we do to make sure that in 10 years, in 50 years, in 20 years, we can go back and drink palm wine on our balcony at home?
Okay, I would say part of it involves transfer of resources, including both knowledge as well as financial. We know that even currently, the diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora contribute, from statistics last year, it was about $17 billion.
Wow.
So we must contribute capital as well as knowledge. So we must be able to go home to set up, for example, let's say in economy, for example, we must be able to develop businesses that are able to employ Nigerians. We know that we have a challenge with unemployment right now. The unemployment rate is quite high, and so a practical way to do that is to set up businesses. Is to give grants that for people who want to do businesses. Is to try to educate people, give people skills. People who don't have them to have skills and all that. Is to give back to whatever alma mater that we've come from. So, for example, I'm in the academic space. So I would, if I go back, I want to also build people to transfer some of the skills that I have now that normally probably is not present right now, to transfer that. And as that continues, and we do that in our individual spaces and capacity, then it spreads all around the country. And that's one way to answer your question. I'm sure Mr. Davis will also have another way.
Mr. Davis, I want to twist that question a little bit. He has spoken about transfer of skills, setting up of businesses, and we want to see a better Nigeria than we see today, 2020, Nigeria at 60, at Nigeria at 80, or Nigeria at 2100 should be different from the Nigeria we see today. He's spoken about businesses, but we can't just only set up businesses in an economy that does not enable us, that does not create an enabling factor for us, an enabling environment where we can set up proper businesses. Can you give us a little bit of suggestions or insight into that, what we can do?
Thank you very much for that question. I think I'll start to state some challenges that might affect Nigeria of our dreams, like we have highlighted. Of course, you have highlighted some of them. Insecurity is a major issue. Of course, in any country, in any state where there's insecurity, foreign investors will not want to come and invest. So if you are saying that, okay, there should be transfer of businesses, of finances, then it is the responsibility of the government to create an enabling environment for businesses. Of course, Nigerians are very good at whatever they do. We have people who are into small-scale businesses and small and medium-scale businesses back at home. But of course, they are still facing the same problem for over 60 years. There's the problem of power that needs to be addressed if business is going to thrive in Nigeria. There's problem of resource control. There's problem of infrastructural deficiency that needs to be addressed. These are things that attract investors. These are things that attract skills as we want to transfer as academics. If you look at the health sector, the pandemic has really exposed us as a country. We have the best of doctors in the world, but most of them don't want to go back because the first reason why they left the country is to practice where there are sophisticated equipment. But of course, Nigeria has failed over the years. In the last 60 years, we can't boast of a single medical facility that could help in treating the pandemic. Our leaders over the years, for 60 years now, have prided themselves, in traveling abroad for medical treatment and so on and so forth. Our leaders have prided themselves in investing in other economy in the world, simply because they are not interested in developing the nation. Of course, this is due to corruption by the leaders. They stole money from the country, and of course, they transfer it to other countries across Europe or some places in Africa. You see, Nigeria cannot boast of a refinery as an oil-producing state. But of course, we have single individuals in Nigeria who have refineries outside the country. Nigeria cannot boast of good roads. But of course, we have countries whereby the money stolen from Nigeria and kept in Swiss bank in Switzerland is being used to develop Europe. These are germane issues that if we want to be in a desired place, in a Nigeria that we dream of course, these things need to be addressed. Political instability, religious strife, insecurity, and of course, if those things are addressed, infrastructural deficient, then that will attract foreign investors. And when foreign investors come to invest, of course, the unemployment and the poverty rates will be reduced.
Yes. Thank you very much for that critical analysis. I was having a discussion with you earlier, And I said that it's very interesting to note that Nigerians generally do very well when they're outside Nigeria. If you look at the arts, we're even having shows now which are starring Nigerians as one of the major stars. Orange is the New Black or something like that, and some other shows. We have people in sports. We have people who are even being elected into political office.
Yes, Casey Madu
Yes,
is the Minister of Justice in Canada.
Yes, we have consultant medical personnel and so many people making active contributions, but somehow we are not able to generate that level of impact to the extent that we want to generate in our own country. Now, I want to find out, I want to ask a question. Nigeria cannot be fixed by outsiders. So what can we do, even though we have the government, even if we have the government, what can we practically do to try and bring in some of these skills as well as people, to bring these skills to bear on improving our lot as a nation and as a people? Can you give me some ideas, sir?
Well, the first fundamental idea that I can give is that we need to find a way to inculcate patriotism and nationalism in Nigerians, basically. So what you find, at least in my own subjective experience, is that many Nigerians are not, they are not really nationalistic, they're not subjective, they're not patriotic and all that. So, and that's why also it's so easy for someone also to do things that are just for selfish purposes and which do not benefit the whole community or the whole country. So I think in terms of that, there has to be some particular way of getting the upcoming Nigerians, the upcoming youths, you know, and even the adults and all that, to believe in the country, to have a sense of unity and purpose, so that we can be able to look at it as our shared vision and shared goal and something we all want to work on and then to make better. So I think that's the first one. So the second would be that yes, our politics right now is quite a bit difficult to say you want to go in, but I think that we cannot sit outside and complain. So we have to join, we have to have our skin in the game. I think if we can do that, that will form, it will go in line with that, with our vision.
Yes. Mr. Davis, Mr. Giwa has raised a very important point. Now the question I want to put to you is, how can we, outside of getting involved in government, also effect a change? I am not ever likely to become a politician, but you might want to be a politician. Okay.
Of course I am one. And I'm of course vying for a post.
Yes, but I may not necessarily want to get involved in politics. How do I make a contribution outside of the political arena, a positive contribution towards building the Nigeria of our dreams?
Well, thank you very much. And I think we need to, first of all, define what is politics. Politics is not only restricted to government. In workspaces, there's politics. In religion organizations, there's politics. So politics is a way of life. Like someone put it, that we are all political animals. Now, like Mr. Giwa has rightly said, you can't sit aback and watch things and complain.
Yes.
Nigeria is having a teeming population of youths, close to 60 to 70% young people. And of course, you discover that these young people are the people that are always complaining about the behavior of government, about there are people suffering from unemployment, there are the people suffering from poverty. Now, they need to be involved in politics. You said, for those that are not going to be involved in politics, like I said, politics is everything about life. As we are seated here, is politics. Of course, we have our own different views, but of course, we must be able to annex all these views together, and that is when we can move forward as a nation. Of course, the common understanding of politics has to do with election. So election is not only somebody becoming a governor. It has a lot of processes. You have voting processes. You have registration of political parties. You have, campaign funds. We have to be involved in all of this. Even though you are not vying for a particular position, you have to say, okay, I trust this person. Oh, he's a former principal of my school. I've seen his leadership capability. Oh, I know Mr. David. So when Mr. David tells me that, oh, I have an intention to vie for a particular position, even though you are not interested, you can vouch for him. And of course, tell people back at home that, oh, I know this person. Based on our relationship, go vote for him.
Yes.
And not just sit down at home and say, oh, it's politicians, are these, are that. We won't get involved. If you don't get involved, we will continue in the same circle. So it's a function of everybody participating in politics, in the election, in party politics. Young people, most especially, must join political parties, must be involved in all processes of election. They must be involved in campaigning, of course, speak to their friends in diaspora that they think can fund their campaign. So we can't leave politics for certain set of people, and we desire a change. Like you said, it's going to take a Nigerian to change Nigeria, to make it a Nigeria of his dream. And of course, that speaks to our value system, our content of character. Of course, we've seen the failure of past government. We've seen that, oh, an average leader is corrupt in Nigeria, either from the councillor to the local government chairman to the honorable member in the State House of Assembly to the governors, on and on to the legislature, and of course, those that are occupying executive positions. And that speaks to me as a person that as individuals, what is your value system? We can't just be blaming leaders of corruption. You as an individual, how do you go about your daily businesses? Are you sure you are not corrupt as an individual? The time you spend in doing what has been allocated to you either in a private sector or in a government sector, how do you go about engaging in those civil services? Are you fruitful? Are you faithful? Are you committed? Like I said, that we need to be nationalistic. We need to have the interest of Nigeria at heart. I engage so many youth back at home, and I tell you, up to this present moment, I'm still finding it difficult, even for those that are mentoring. Everybody wants to leave Nigeria.
Yes.
That is the truth. And like I said, we need to be patriotic, but for us to be patriotic, there must be an enabling environment. And of course, that is what we are saying, that insecurity must be addressed. Resource control must be looked into. Restructuring, of course, is subject to debate, but of course, is an option for us to look at. If possible, returning to regionalism could work. But I think African country, and with respect to Nigeria, we have to look at what actually worked for us. If democracy that we got into 1999 is not working, then let us throw it away and find another means that works for us to address our problems.
So to just add to some of the points that you made. So there are also things that are happening that many Nigerians too don't know about, and just because they are not involved. So for example, the current government has made a reform where the payment for local governments and all that goes directly to the local governments, and this information are publicly available if you want them. But you see that nobody's questioning local government chairmen or even the governors and all that. So, and yet they just lay all those blame on the president and the federal government and all that. Nigerians must hold accountable every leaders at those levels and all that. Now also, in terms of private capacity, what can people do? We've seen organizations like Tracker. I don't know if you know that, tracker.ng, that Shimoni and all that. What they do is they make advocacy, they track
projects,
community, Senate stuff, budget.
Budgetary allocation.
Yes, this, that Senate vote for and all that. And so they track all those projects and see if they've executed them, they've done all that, they've done all those projects. They engage with communities to tell them this is what is supposed to be done for you and all that. So if we have people too coming up with this kind of several kinds of things and educating the people about their responsibility as well as citizens, that first of all, what you must question is your local leaders before you start going to governors and before you start talking about the federal government. The federal, there are dichotomies, different, different responsibilities, for example, that are for each of those levels of government. So in terms of education, for example, the federal government is not in charge of primary education, secondary education. That's the primary responsibility of the state government. So, but Nigerians generally will just face all those problems on the federal government. It's not like the federal government cannot also act there. But the primary thing is to hold those leaders accountable at that level. Because that is what can actually produce the change, and that is what will be effective.
Yeah, I think I will join him on that, because why people focus on the federal government is because Nigeria is a federalism state. And when it comes to resource control, it's done by the federal government. Even though we should hold all leaders accountable at the local level. But of course, the resources for those infrastructural development, for education, for health, for infrastructure, for social amenities, comes from the federal government. And of course, that is why we have so many constitutional bodies, like the Federal Character Council, for example, which is given the responsibility to see that all geopolitical zones, all states are well catered for. Of course, Nigeria is divided into the northern and the south, but later, when we came to democracy in 1999, it was subdivided into 6 geopolitical zones. And that is why we said, if the federalism system of government is not working, if our concentration is on the federal government, if we are calling the federal government accountable, is because the way the Nigeria system is constituted. And that is why people are saying, look, there needs to be a review of the Constitution. And these are issues that should be looked into. We can't leave all the resources to federal government to control, and of course expect our local council to deliver. We know basically that an average political person has spent millions getting into those positions. And of course, people see politics as business. You invest money into it, and of course you expect returns. Of course, if you go back to the 70s, or the early time where we got independence, where regions are in control of their resources, we were doing well. We were not running this kind of mono economy. We were not depending on oil. Right. We were technically depending on agriculture. Of course, people will be able to see the dividends of democracy. But when there's a federal system of government that all the resources goes to the federal system, then whoever gets to that position, of course, amassed everything, the wealth of the nation, to his own ethnic group. And that is the issue, why I perceive people focus on the federal government. I quite totally agree. I've been involved in social organizations whereby we look at the projects, allocated to each local government. This thing costs money. It breaks down to saying you're having a representative in a state, you're having a representative in each local government. And this was sponsored by somebody from who was abroad, from somebody in diaspora. I was back at home, I was representing Ondo State, and we have each representative in each local government to monitor those projects, the primary schools, the basic education facility, that people don't embezzle this money. Yes. But like you said, I think the teeming young population of Nigeria are confused. And of course, they lack access to it. They are ignorant, as it were. And of course, ignorance is not an excuse. So there are a lot of information available. There are a lot of, bills being passed that people seem to be uncared. They are not interested. The water bill has generated a lot of issues. The issues of vaccine are just, how many young people knows about what is going on in the Senate? How many Nigerians are interested in what is going on in the House of Representatives? So many people are called to questions. The NDDC saga was there. The Minister of Transportation saga was there. And of course, it ended abruptly. People need to be held accountable. And of course, when people are held accountable, you see that at the end of the day, of course, it ends in nothing.
It's very true what you're saying. It's very, very true what you're saying. But, in our final, before we take our final words, ask for some final input from you. One of the things that I have come to observe is that in Nigeria, we have good systems in place, but people run these systems. We have the BVN system, we have all kinds of systems to monitor different things. But the problem is, I think we need a reorientation, not a re-education, because we are highly educated people. We are highly capable people. We are exposed generally. And the average Nigerian sitting even in the deepest parts of somewhere has an idea of what is going on all over the world. But we need to change our value system and the way in which we see our country. Nigeria must stop being just for the rich only. We have to find a way to embrace Nigeria as our own, because it's only when we embrace Nigeria as our own that we can fight for a better tomorrow for the whole country, and not just for our ethnic group or for our local government or for ourselves. So in our final words, in our final comments, would you like to give me some final comments as we end this broadcast, Nigeria at 60?
Yeah, I just want to call on all Nigerians to see our country in a good light, to see it as the cup being half filled, that there's so much to expect, and to work towards ensuring that we have a country that of our dreams that we all want. And I also want to congratulate all Nigerians for our coming independence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Giwa. Mr. Davis?
Well, my final notes on Nigeria at 60 is that I want to encourage all Nigeria not to give up. We are getting there. Although at a slow pace, but we are quite sure we will be there one day. Don't give up. Keep doing your best at what you do. Keep representing well as a Nigerian. Of course, we need to change the narrative. Nobody can tell our story like ourselves.
Yes.
Congratulations, Nigeria at 60.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis and Mr. Giwa, for your time.
Thank you.
And we'd also like to thank the executive members of the Nigerian community in Western Cape for putting together this event, Nigeria at 60. Thank you so much, our president. And we'd also like to thank the MD of CME TV for his contributions towards the Nigerian community and our events. Thank you so much. And also I'd like to congratulate our president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and his team, his executive council. And I'd also like to congratulate all Nigerians in Nigeria and of course in the Western Cape and also in South Africa. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope this has been an enlightening time. Congratulations to all of us for Nigeria at 60. Thank you.